Today, we're gonna look forward to 2016 as I share with you my plan for this year and how I am using visual thinking tools to help me execute on that plan. Happy New Year, everybody. Let's get into it. So this video here is the second in a two-part series of my annual review. In the last video, I looked back at 2015, shared with you how that year went for me, and encouraged you to do some reflection yourself on the past year and use your developing visual thinking tools to do that reflection, to get a big picture of how your year went. Now it's time to look in the other direction, looking forward. So today I will share with you how 2015 is going to look for me, what I'll be working on, what I will be focusing on, how I'll be organizing my days and weeks. Let's get into it. As I explained in the last video, 2015 was all about verbal to visual. That was my focus for the entire year, building this video series here and also building the verbal to visual classroom. Now, here is what 2016 is going to look like. I'm going to return to the graphic recorder where my journey in this world of visual thinking began and get back to sharing my own sketch notes. I will continue to build things here at Verbal to Visual, expanding this video series and continuing to improve upon and build new course materials within the Verbal to Visual classroom. And now for two newer projects, I'm going to continue building Learn in Public, which I launched just at the end of 2015. That project is about documenting your progress while you learn a new skill and apply it in a variety of ways, sharing all of that online as a way to connect with others. And finally, as a new case study for Learn in Public, I'm going to start exploring music, which has been an interest of mine for as long as I can remember. Now, it might seem like this year is a whole lot of stuff, and in some ways it is. However, these two pieces here are fairly well developed. The graphic recorder needs a bit of a facelift, but mostly it's in good shape. And I'm feeling good about the foundation I've set here at Verbal to Visual. Since these are newer projects, I want to continue building them and growing them, but to be honest, they are not as much of a focus for me as these two pieces. I want to make slow and steady progress on these over time, but I'm not overly concerned about the total amount of energy that I put into these right away. Also, there is this joining factor that unites all of these projects. And that uniting factor is this: using visual thinking tools to reach my full creative and professional potential. That's what I'm going for. That is what will be the common thread throughout all of these projects. And that is why from time to time, I'll chat about how these things are going here at Verbal to Visual so that you can see how I am applying these ideas, these skills, these practices that I'm teaching here at Verbal to Visual. So let's move now from this zoomed out picture of what I'll be working on in 2016 to a more zoomed in view, as close as we can get, looking at individual days. At the beginning of each year, I do a little bit of fine-tuning to my daily routine. Here is how I'm approaching my days this year. In the AM, when I first wake up, rather than jumping on a computer, logging onto Facebook, or checking my email, I want to start my day out analog, just with pen and paper so that I can do my most creative work without those digital distractions, and also when I have the most energy at the beginning of the day. Interspersed throughout that morning, I also want to build in two routines that tap into the mindfulness that I talked about in the last video. First being morning pages and the second being meditation. You might remember from the last video this sketch right here. The fact that I did a pretty good job of my goal of mindfulness in 2015 for the first half of the year, but after moving back up to Portland, changing living situations, things got a little jumbled. So to start this year off, I want to get back to these two habits and make sure to do them in the AM. My afternoons and evenings will be a bit more digital. That section of the day I will spend fine-tuning and publishing the work that I did in the morning. I also want to make sure that at least part of the afternoon I get out of my home office, walk to a coffee shop or restaurant, and do some work outside of the house. I have found that to be a huge source of creative energy after spending the first part of the day inside. Now, in past years, I've gotten a little more specific about how I spend certain hours throughout the day. So this year is an experiment to give myself a little more flexibility, to say that yes, in the mornings, I'm going to spend time primarily doing analog work, and in the afternoons and evenings, focusing on the digital stuff. But then from day to day and week to week, I can adjust specifically what hours I spend doing what work. With that rough look at how I'm spending my days, let's zoom out just a little bit more and take a look at my weekly publishing schedule. I love the idea of having one thing to share each day of the week. So here is what I plan on publishing Monday through Friday. Mondays are going to be for verbal to visual video. This series right here and this video right here, which I'm actually creating on Monday, January 4th. On Tuesdays, I will also be focusing on making videos like these, but in that case for the project Learn in Public. It is the making of these videos that are by far the most time consuming, so my plan is to get those two out of the way early in the week when I have the most energy. On Wednesdays, I will return to work at the graphic recorder and start sharing one new sketch note each week. A sketch note of someone else's talk or a book or something that I am taking in, interesting ideas from others. Thursdays, I will be dedicating to the not yet well-defined project, Doug Neill Music. That is where I will be applying the ideas that I am teaching over at Learn in Public. But since I don't know exactly what that will look like, I'm not yet defining what I will be sharing each of those Thursdays. On Fridays, I host the Verbal to Visual Classrooms webinar workshop. That makes for a great way to end the week, chatting with other folks like you that are developing their skills, and together we continue building those skills alongside each other. In order to hold myself accountable to this schedule each day and each week, I am going to set up this weekly set of checkboxes, 3 each day, the first 2 corresponding to the morning pages and meditation habit that I dropped off of at the end of 2015, and then the last checkbox corresponding to whether or not I in fact publish these things each of these days. So hopefully as I go through the week, I will be able to check each of these boxes off and track my progress, not only each day, but also each week and month, so that I can go back and evaluate from time to time and see how things are going, which things I'm getting done and which I'm not. And to prevent burnout, I will continue taking small-scale sabbaticals. After 6 weeks of following that publishing schedule, I will take an entire week off from it. And I will use that time to recharge, hopefully do a little bit of traveling so that I can come back after and be refreshed for the next 6 weeks. So you've now seen the 3 scales at which I will be looking at and evaluating 2016. Starting from the big picture here, the overall plan for how I am choosing to spend my time, what projects I'm working on, a weekly publishing schedule that I will try to adhere to, work up to, make sure that I'm spending time building each of the projects that matter to me, but also taking time off when necessary. And finally, the most specific, getting down to these daily routines here so that I make sure I have enough time and energy to both do the work that matters to me and also spend time not doing work. So there is one more piece that I am experimenting with here at the beginning of 2016. I'm doing a little bit of an experiment in daily vlogging. Daily vlogging is using cameras, sometimes this big one here, sometimes the camera on my phone, to take short clips throughout the day, documenting what I'm working on, what I'm doing, whether I'm here in the home office working away or out exploring Portland or somewhere farther away, capturing the day. And there are a number of reasons that I've chosen to do that as an experiment, but I will let you go check that out for yourself. I've committed to spend the first 2 months capturing my days in that video format. And one of those reasons I'll share with you here is a piece of accountability. It's to make sure that I'm actually spending my days like this and that I'm doing the work necessary to do these things each week. It's also a experiment in learning in public. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll throw it up here. Follow the link here to check out those videos and let me know what you think. There might even be a little bit of visual thinking thrown into those videos from time to time. I very much hope that your 2016 is off to a good start, and I encourage you, if you haven't already, give your goals, your New Year's resolutions, your intentions for 2016. Find a way to give them a little bit of a visual form. I think they have a higher likelihood of sticking so that you actually put those plans and goals and intentions into action. Good luck. See you next time.